Hello, and welcome to another episode of SHEnanigans, where I sit down with women in the community to talk about how they're quietly, and in the case of my guest today, not so quietly, are making an impact in the community. So today, I'm welcoming Melinda Moulton. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today.
How are you? Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me.
I'm so excited to have you today. One of the reasons I've been following you for years, I came to Burlington 2004, and your name has cropped up in like the preservation circles and the community. And I started this show because as an amateur historian and genealogist, what really gets me is, when I go to do research, for example, in the cemeteries, I see like, here lies John Smith and wife, right? And the women are never mentioned or aren't mentioned as much. And we started an endeavor in terms of a program talking about the women of Burlington history. And it occurred to me, like, why not tell some of the stories of the women now, while they're still alive, while they're making an impact? And you defy explanation. You have made such an impact.
So sweet of you.
So I wanted to talk to you about that today. I've heard you, I think you defy labels. You're a poet, writer, filmmaker, activist, troublemaker, which I also really resonate with. So I just wanted to get your perspective on your life and what you've done and all the activities you've done in Burlington and why.
Well, that's going to take longer than a half an hour. I don't know.
It really is.
I've been around for a long time. I'm going to be 76 in a week or two, and
happy early birthday.
Thank you very much.
What started you on your journey?
Well, back when, at what point? I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I lost my mother when I was young. So I grew up very fast. I was 12 when she died, and became an adult very quickly, and really believed in my heart that I had to make my life what I had to make it, because she wasn't there any longer. And she was really the one that directed, the piano lessons and the violin lessons and skating lessons and what I would be as a human being, as a grown woman. So I had to kind of grow up really fast. And I ended up moving to Vermont with my husband in 1972. We had a little 2-year-old baby, and we bought a piece of land and built a stone house. And I worked at the University Health Center when I was 24, when it was only 16 employees. Now I think it's many, many, many.
Yeah.
And at their startup. And then went home for 5 years to have a baby, to have my daughter. And then when she was starting kindergarten, I turned to my family and I said, somebody's got to get a job. My husband was a filmmaker. We just finished the film Legends of American Skiing, which just recently was recognized by the Ski Hall of Fame as one of the top 10 ski films ever made. We did that in our 20s. And so I went and got a job working for a development company, developing the waterfront. And that was the beginning of my work with what was then the Alden Waterfront and became Main Street Landing, and my partnership with Lisa Steele and the 40 years of redeveloping the Burlington waterfront. And then on May 2nd of this year, it'll be 4 years that I stepped down from Main Street Landing, and I joined my husband's film company as his executive producer. And we have 6 projects we've been working on, and we're working in the middle right now of creating a film on Ethan Allen, the man and the myth, for the 250th anniversary of our independence.
Where did the idea for that come from?
Well, when I left Main Street Landing, I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And I thought maybe I'll be a consultant for women and teach women empowerment or this. So I set up a website thinking I would do consulting. And I was sitting with my husband one day and I looked at him, I said, you really struggle with fundraising and you're an independent documentarian. And that's always been a struggle for you. And I said, I know how to raise money. And so I think rather than do something on my own, what if we join up again like we did in our 20s, making Legends, when I raised money for that film? And what if I get some money to keep you, busy? And he loves making movies. He says he's going to make movies till the day he dies. So I became his executive producer. I went online to the name of his company, which was Keystone Productions. And I went online to see what was there, and it was a company in Maryland. And I looked at him and I said, the name of your company that you've had for 50 years takes me to a company in Maryland that's a filmmaking,
We need to fix that.
This is not working for me.
Yeah.
So I rebranded him, changed his name, created his website, got all of his, created the logo,
Wow.
created the mission and the vision and all of that, and really reinvented in a month's time his company.
That's amazing.
And then I said, let's go out and start doing legacy films, which would be 30-minute films for a school or like a nonprofit who wants to have a 30-minute film. And we could do that, you know, for not a lot of money. And like we did a great film for the Rokeby Museum, and we did a film for Mad River Glen, and we did a film for Vermont Academy. So I went out and started meeting with people just with a packet and saying, look, we can do legacy films for you. And then one day I was talking to Glenn Fay, who wrote the book, you know, the Mysteries of Burlington or whatever. It's a great book. And he had asked me to write the foreword. And he's on the board of the Ethan Allen Homestead. And he called me and he said, we have this great new executive director, Angie Grove, and would you come out and talk to her about fundraising and some people she could meet? I said, no problem. I've never been to the Ethan Allen Homestead. So I said to Rick, hey, dude, we're going, and he's a historian.
In all your years here, you've never been out
Never
there?
been. I'm really embarrassed. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It took me 15 years to figure out Rock Point.
I didn't even know there was a waterfront for years. So anyway, I said to Rick, look, you're a historian. You should come with me. And he was like, oh, okay. So off we go to the Ethan Allen Homestead, and I get there, this building, I'm like, wow, this is
incredible.
Fabulous. So we walk inside, there's Angie. I'm like, hey, there's Glenn. I'm like, whoa, this is great. And I look at their exhibit, and I'm like, well, where's your video? Where's your, you know, where's your media? And she goes, oh, we don't have it. And I said, well, who's done a documentary on Ethan Allen? And she said, there's never been a documentary on Ethan Allen.
Ever?
Ever.
That surprises me.
And I said,
wow.
oh. And I turned to Rick and I said, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And he was like, great. So Angie and Glenn wrote up this outline of what they wanted, what they thought in the film, and we worked with them. And then we got the Vermont Historical Society to be our financial agent. And I went out and raised the money to make this PBS documentary. And Rick's now writing the script. He's done all the production. And we're hoping to release it on November 7th. There will be a private showing for our donors and people that are in it. And then we're going to have a public showing at like 7 p.m. for the public.
Does November 7th have some special significance?
It has none. It has none.
Like Ethan Allen's birthday or something?
No, it was supposed to be in August 31st. And then Rick, I could see he was really getting stressed. Because the thing about this film about Ethan Allen is he's written thousands and thousands of letters and documents, but there's nothing visual. And most of Rick's films, you know, he can go and find visuals and other videos and stuff to put this together. There's not much there. So it's a real challenge for him. And I could tell that he was really getting stressed out with that August 31st. So I said, what if we push it up into November? And I looked at Saturday, November 7th. What's anybody doing on November 7th? It was before Thanksgiving. I mean, you know, everybody's going to be around.
It's right after Guy Fawkes Day.
Right, exactly. I mean, how's that? And Rick, so I reserved the film house at Main Street Landing, and if we get a full house at 7 p.m., we'll show it again at 9 p.m. Because I think if it goes out to the public and we do some advertising and stuff, that we could fill the house twice.
Now, you said it was going to be a PBS
production.
How is that?
Well, you know, we've got 5 organizations that wrote us letters of support, and I went out to 100 people for funding, and I got 35 people to help fund the film. So Vermont Public was one of those organizations. So we're meeting actually with Mr. Singh on Thursday to talk about how they're going to participate in the educational piece of getting this out educationally. But we have it's called a wrangler, and you hire a wrangler, and they go to all the PBS stations and they book you in. And so with his film on Lowell Thomas, which was called The Rise of Broadcast News, which we released in 2019, she put us into 93% of all the PBS stations across the country. They don't pay you. I mean, it's like when you make a documentary film, you really never get paid much anyway. But once the film's done, then it's a gift. It's a gift to the world. And so PBS doesn't pay you, but if she wrangles you, then she can get it on all the stations.
That's an interesting term.
Yeah. So we have to pay her to do it, but she's an incredible woman. So if you go to www.rickmoulton.com, you can see all of our documentary films for free. You can live stream them, you can plug them into your TV. The film we just did on Mad River is fabulous, and also the film for the Rokeby Museum,
How
too.
do you pick projects? How do you even begin to, because there are so many fabulous stories to be told.
Well, over the years, Rick has really focused on ski history. And so he does a lot of ski films. I mean, they're really fun ski films, Spills and Thrills, and The 10th Mountain, and, you know, Legends of American Ski. He's a lot of ski films. But he did a great film on Dartmouth and the Winter Carnival, and that's one beautiful film. And Dartmouth actually commissioned him to do it. You know, people have to ask him to make films for them, and that doesn't happen a lot. So we have to raise the money. Now, the film, when we're done with this film, I'm hoping we can make a film for Eaglebrook School. I think they're going to commission us to do that. And then I want to make a film on autism because my grandson is a nonverbal autistic poet. And I want to show the world, and he wants to show the world, that people with autism who can't speak are human beings with great gifts. And they're not meant to be shoved in the corner and ignored because they can't speak. And that was a film I wanted to do before the Ethan Allen film. And we were starting to push to get going on that. And then the Ethan Allen film came up, and the 250th anniversary of our independence, we kind of have to do it. But the next film, and then I'm going to get more involved in production of that and script writing, and I want to get more ingrained in actually doing the filmmaking, not just raising the money, but actually helping Rick to actually do the film.
So when you say you want to get more involved in that piece, what does that actually involve?
Well, it involves the research and deciding on who we're going to interview, being involved in the questions when we interview people of what I want them to ask them. And I did a little bit of that with the Ethan Allen film. It really is Rick's film. He's a filmmaker. And I'm not, but I'm learning, and I can be. And so with the autism film, I definitely want to be more involved in the production. And he's really fine with that. He's good with that. So that'll probably be our next project. And then if anybody comes to us and says, oh, we'd love a legacy film, a 30-minute film to promote our business or whatever, or they're nonprofit, we're always available to do that. But this is what he loves to do.
And how has it been for you working together again in this capacity?
You know, it's been really weird because I would come to Burlington every day, and he'd sit up on the mountains in Huntington in our house, and he'd work. And he worked alone. Our editor and cinematographer is Michael Couture. I want to give a shout out to Mike because Rick's worked with him for 40 years. He's an extraordinary editor and cinematographer. So, you know, when it came time to editing, you'd go into Michael's studio and they would edit together. But normally, a lot of the work is done by himself. So he's always worked alone. And I've come into Burlington and had this like incredible career where I'm seeing people and staff and really involved with humanity. So when I went home and he was alone working, and I'd be like, so, what do you want to talk about today? I'm here, what do you want to do? And he's like, I'm working. And it was really hard. And I've been now home for 4 years. And just recently I said to him, you know, you can't just tell me you're working because I live here with you and we're a couple and we have to work, we have to be a couple. So I've got him convinced that I want him to work certain hours and then it's got to stop and then we have a relationship because he'll work 12, 15 hours and he's quiet and he does it all in the quiet of his, and I'm not. I want to play, I want to talk, I want to process. We need to process things. And so it's been really a struggle to get our lives so they're aligned, and we're still working on it. You know, we haven't had to go into counseling, thank God. We've been together 56 years, but we're working on it to make sure that it works. And maybe when I'm actually involved more in production of the film, in the autism film, that maybe I'll be more quiet rather than running around looking for attention.
I don't know if that's
looking
possible.
for him to, you know, sit down and talk to me.
You're also involved in so many organizations, right? Like, you know, in the historical world, especially. I'd love to know where your interest in history comes from, and you know what started that and what drives it.
I don't have an interest in history,
but you're a part of the.
And I have to be really honest with people. I'm not a historian, and my husband's the historian. So I'm on the board of the Vermont Historical Society, and that's the only board that I've been on that's really a historic. I mean, I've been on Planned Parenthood and Lund, and the Y, and I mean, there's 50 boards in my career that I've served on, and most of them are human service boards. I've been on the Poverty Council, UVM's 2020 project, the Legacy Project, environmental, human, social issues, racial justice, healthcare. I'm in a group on healthcare, but history was never really my thing. And when we asked the Historical Society, Stephen Perkins, to be our fiscal agent, because we had to run the money through a nonprofit, he called me one day and he said, I'd love you to be on my board. And I was like, well, why me? I mean, I'm not, Rick is he's the historian. And he said, I want a business mind. I want somebody who's got a real business mind to come on this board and to bring their business acumen with them. Because he has tons of historians on the board, and he has very brilliant, these people are, triple PhD mental geniuses, geniuses, and I'm like, but he wanted a business person. So, and I think my fundraising too, he wanted to have that too. So I said, well, I'd love to, but really this is the guy. And he said, well, we love Rick too, but we really need your expertise. We really would like your expertise. So I was blown away, because the Vermont Historical Society is an extremely amazing and brilliant organization. It's been around for 150 years. And to be asked to be on that prestigious group, and I go to those board meetings and my mind is just blown at the brilliance around that table and how seriously they take history. And I thought I'd be like, kind of snoozyville, but I'm not. I'm just so intrigued, and I'm really getting to fall in love with so much of what that organization does. And I am working with them on fundraising and things like that, and trying to bring some of my business background to them.
How do you fit so much in a day?
I think I have ADHD. I really do. I've been sort of thinking about that lately, because my kids are like, Mom, it's time. You really need to slow down. You're pushing, and I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen. And I think I do have attention. I know if I have attention deficit, because I'm very attention oriented, but I think I'm very hyper. I think I have a hyper personality, and maybe, who knows, maybe I'm a little bit on the spectrum. I don't know, but I just have to keep moving. And like my husband says, I wake up in the morning and I'm like this explosive firecracker, and then it comes a point where I just drop. I'm just done. There's no,
there's no in between.
It must drive him a little crazy, poor thing. He's trying to quietly do his work, and I'm bouncing around the house. But I think that's where I get my energy, because I don't drink caffeine. I haven't had a drink in 20 years. I mean, I'm very healthy, and it's not like I take substances to keep myself moving. I just think I'm I think I'm a hyperhuman.
It's probably a little bit of both. But the fact that you keep moving keeps you moving.
It keeps me moving.
Yeah,
I keep saying to my kids, if you slow me down, then dig the hole and put me in it, because when I slow down, that'll be the end of it. It'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
So I keep moving, and also, I can't say no. I mean, I have people. My greatest moments in my day is when somebody writes me or calls me and says, "Hey, my niece has a son who's got autism, and he's 7 years old, and I would love to sit down with you and talk to you about what this is like." When I get those calls, or somebody wants to talk to me about a business thing that they're doing, or they want to talk to me about just to get about their nonprofit or something that they want to do and they need some advice, I always say yes. And because I find out when I sit down and I experience those moments with people I don't know, they are the most invigorating, extraordinary moments of my life. Is I'm sitting across from somebody I don't know, and we connect, and for an hour or two we just have this extraordinary come together moment, and I can't say no. I'm just like, you bet.
Yeah.
What time, when, I'm there, pick the place.
That's what's all founded on, right? That human connection, and then taking it. You never know where something is going to lead you, what doors it will unlock, what magic it will reveal. It's phenomenal.
It's really true. And so
Yeah.
when I get somebody who sends me a message and says, hey, would you be willing to? I'm like, absolutely.
I think that's, a misconception a lot of people have, that people who have accomplished so much and are so busy are unapproachable, are not willing to talk to people, are not willing to lift them up. And it's so great to see that that's actually not the case.
Well, they always say that if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person.
That's true.
That's a saying.
Yeah.
If you want to get something done, give it to somebody who's really busy because they'll get it done.
Yeah.
And no, I love those moments when somebody will call me and say, I've got this going on in my life, and you don't know me, or I'm writing this book. This guy John Howland, he's a writer, and he just sent me his 360-page manuscript of this book he's writing. It's a memoir. And this weekend, I read. I'm kind of a speed reader. I kind of read through it, and then he asked me if I would write something about it, and I did. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful memoir about his life. And I was so honored that he asked me to read this before it was published. And those things are, those are heartwarming things for me.
Yeah. So, flipping the script a little bit, you're making all these legacy films. Where would you think your legacy is? What do you want to leave the world behind?
Oh, I don't know what I'll leave behind. I don't know what I'll leave behind. I'll leave behind my grandchildren. Rowan for sure, my 3 granddaughters, and, I guess my life as a woman trying to make it in the world, in a man's world that has always been sort of a struggle for me, and I think a lot of women.
And it seems to be a problem that doesn't change very much over the years.
Well, I asked my daughter, who's Mariah, who runs the Performing Arts Center at Main Street Landing. She worked for me for like 20 years. I hired her right out of college. And I said to her, did you ever have, this or that happen to you working with men? And she said, no, that never happened to me. And I thought, wow, well, this generation's come a long way from where we were. But all through my career, I was always, it was always the woman in the room was not the one that people directed their attention to,
Yes.
or they didn't take you seriously, or they didn't feel like somehow you could have done what you did, and we were always second guessed. And
that still happens.
And it still happens, and that's, I think it happens less. I think we crashed through, I don't know how old you are, but I think we've crashed through this glass ceiling, and we aren't going to take it anymore. Young women aren't going to take it anymore, and they're standing up for themselves. And
They are. I think a lot of us older women are showing them how to stand up.
How old are you?
I'm not going to say my age.
come
No,
on.
I'm 56.
Okay, so you're a youngster. You're my son's age.
I'm still a relative youngster, but I'm also approached that point where I don't give a crap anymore, and I will stand up for myself more, and I don't care what people.
Wait till you're 70.
Well, I'm going to be just like you, hopefully.
Wait till you're 70 because you won't put up with it at all. But
Yes.
But no, I still feel, and especially with the way our world is going today,
Yes.
with
We're
women
sliding
being
back.
marginalized,
Yeah.
and we're sliding back, and there's a lot of great stuff happening in the world, but women are having their rights taken away from them, and we have to keep fighting for those. But I really struggled in trying to get things permitted and being taken seriously by, the city government and by men in construction, and to realize that that I was capable of doing what I did. And fortunately, I was the boss, so I was able to
Yeah.
do what I needed to do.
So, which goes back to your earlier, or the very beginning of the conversation, where you said you thought of going into consulting to empower women. So what would you say to somebody who is maybe finding themselves in the position that you were in way back when, or even still today, and who feels like, oh, this is too hard, I can't do this, nobody's ever going to listen to me? What would you say to that woman?
Well, women, I've met with a lot of women, young women, who will say to me, I've been offered this position, but I don't have the education, and I really don't have the experience, and I don't know if I should. And I'm like, why?
And?
Just do it. just
Could you do the
kick,
job?
and I think women have to kick the door down. If the door opens, walk through it. I mean, I didn't know how to develop. I mean, I came from a construction background. My father was a general contractor, but I didn't know how to develop a property. I knew business. I knew how to run a company, but and I just walked through the door when that opportunity came around, and I said, you know, I'm just going to make it up. And there's I have a website. It's melindamolton.com if you want to check it out. And it has all of my Moments with Melinda TV interviews of the last 4 years.
How many is that?
Well, that's like 95. But I have the other ones I did for this channel. I've been doing it since 2000.
Wow.
So I've had 26 years of doing this show. But anyway, my website is melindamolton.com. And there's a video there that I did for Champlain College called The Power of Naivete. And it talks about how I knew nothing. And the opportunity was handed to me. And I said, okay, I'm going to make it up. And sometimes if you don't know something or how to do something, sometimes what you do is actually better. Because if there's this preconceived notion or education or wisdom or whatever that somebody's put into your brain, then you follow that and you don't just create. And with Main Street Landing, I certainly created how to do that, coming out of my own brain without being told what to do. And it's called The Power of Naivete. It's on my website, melindamolton.com. Plus all my Moments with Melinda shows, and you're going to be on one of my shows coming up. But so that's my advice to women is if the door doesn't open for you, kick it down. Kick it down and march in. And unfortunately, when we do that, then we're aggressive. We're, you know,
that's all the double standards.
Yeah, but the guy does it, he's like, oh, he's so, you know, so. But if a woman does it, it's like, ugh, you know, God, she's so overwhelming. I don't care. Just kick the damn door down, walk through the door and say, I can do this, and I want an opportunity to prove that I can do it. And until I prove you wrong, that I can't do this, give me this opportunity. And even if you think that you can't do it, you can do it. I mean, unless it's brain surgery or something like that.
You do need a little bit of education for that.
You do have to get education for that, or maybe being, you know, a corporate attorney. But just kick down the door and do it. And don't say, oh, I don't have the education, I don't have the experience, I don't know if I can do that. And I always say to these women, you do it, and then you let me know that you did it, because I need to know that you did it. That's important.
I think that's really important to have somebody in your corner giving you a little push, a little encouragement, a little cheering, sometimes a little bit of uncomfortable truth, right? So who was in your corner? Who was that for you? Did you have people along the way?
Well, certainly working for Lisa, you know, for Lisa Steele. I mean, Lisa was the owner of Main Street Landing. I mean, she was always my cheerleader. And she was a woman, and I worked for a woman, and she was always there for me. And bless her heart, you know, there might have been male detractors, but she was always there for me. I think my mother, I mean, she died when I was 12, but she was always like, you can do anything, you can do anything. And then, you know, my husband was a big supporter of anything I wanted to do. And then I have my daughter, and I have a son too, Eli, who's the love of my life as well. But I'd say that my daughter was really someone who always had, you know, like, Mom, you can do anything. I think my son did too, but more my daughter, because, you know, daughters and mothers are kind of, we talk about this. I don't want to bother my son with all that chatter that, like,
but he needs to hear it too.
He needs to hear it too. He's like, oh, Mother, please. Yeah. But no, my children were there for me. And now I have grandchildren that are like, yeah, you can do that. You know, you're there. So if you have that, and if nobody has that, call me. I'll be there for you. You know, if you need a cheerleader, you know, let me know, and I'd be glad to get out there and cheer for you. And but we all need somebody who's going to be in your corner, and I fortunately did have those people who just were there for me.
That's so important.
Yeah.
So the film continues to unfold and get developed, and then launches in November. And then you're going to do another one. What else is on your radar? Any other projects coming up?
Any other projects?
Ideas, crazy ideas.
Well, you know, I want to get through the Ethan Allen film, and I need to plan that event. So there's a lot of PR and all that stuff that I have to do to prepare that. I want to start working on the outline for the autism film, because I want to start fundraising for that probably after we release the Ethan Allen film. And that'll take 6 months to fundraise for that. And then I'll be working on that. you know, my board service for Vermont Historical Society. I'm working, oh, this is great. When I left Main Street Landing, Elise Guyette, who's a historian, you know Elise.
Yes.
Oh my God, Elise, I love Elise. And Gail Rosenberg, they contacted me and they said, hey, you're not with Main Street Landing anymore. Would you be willing to work with us on the Burlington History and Culture Center? Right?
Yes.
And
Hence, I thought you had a thing for history.
But I don't. I mean, I do. I mean, don't think I don't love history, but that's not why they wanted me there. I mean, Elise is a historian, and Gail is a fundraiser. You know, Howard Center for many years raised millions of dollars for that, and also a doer. So those three women came together with Lisa Evans, and we created the Burlington History and Culture Center. So we are working now on creating our first exhibit.
Oh.
And it'll be a pop-up somewhere in Burlington. I'm looking at Main Street Landing. We'll see where. And doing our first pop-up in the next 6 months to a year. And then eventually we want to find a space and create this. And this is a history and culture center, not about the big shots, not about the big names, the railroad people, you know, the men.
Yep.
No, this is the people who made the bricks that built the city that we stand on, this beautiful city of Burlington, which, by the way, enough of this bad-mouthing Burlington.
Yeah.
Burlington is one of the greatest cities in our country. It is a great city, and it's going through a lot of stuff that other cities are going through. And so I really encourage all the people out there who are watching this show, come to Burlington, shop here, eat here, socialize here, go to the shows here, and don't abandon this Queen City. It's a beautiful city. And every once in a while, you're going to see some weird stuff happen, but that's happening all over the world. And we have to not abandon this extraordinary city.
I agree. It's a wonderful city. It's a vibrant city. And it's got you here, too.
Well, Burlington History and Culture Center. So that's another thing I'm working on. And I'm getting more involved in that.
So that is, I'm dying to ask you more questions about that, but we're out of time. So I know, we're going to have to continue another day. Maybe you'll come on the Preservation Burlington show and tell us all about that as well.
I'd bring Elise. I would have Elise do that.
We've had her as well. So
she's so extraordinary. Well, thank you
so
much
many things.
for
Thank you for
having me on
coming
the
and
show.
spending half an hour
I'm so
with
honored.
me. I am really excited to have sat you down for 30 minutes and had this conversation
Well,
with
you're
you.
next. I'm going to get you on my show.
We're going to have lots more. Okay,
yes,
great.
ma'am. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.